Hello, brothers, and welcome to Sigma Old Man Channel. Guard your silence like a secret weapon, because every syllable spent carelessly is ammo you can't get back. Sigma males don't spill, they store, they don't announce, they observe. And while the world is busy tweeting thoughts before they're even fully formed, the Sigma is filing away entire libraries in his head, quietly, calculatedly, brutally aware that once something's spoken, it can't be unsaid or unheard. Here's the twist most people never realize. The most powerful truths about a Sigma male are the ones he never voices. Not because he can't, but because some things lose value once they're spoken. He knows the world isn't built for brutal truths, especially the ones that expose its fake smiles, hollow friendships, and performance-driven connections. And if you think this is just another intro about a quiet guy being mysterious, pause right there. That's surface-level fluff. What we're about to unpack are the 12 hidden, raw, sometimes uncomfortable, but deeply revealing truths that most Sigma males carry like unsent letters. They won't say them out loud, but you can feel them in their energy, their decisions, and the way they vanish mid-conversation with zero guilt. Studies even show that high IQ introverts, like most Sigmas, tend to speak less not out of shyness but out of exhaustion, because 90% of what people talk about feels like spam mail to their brains. Add a sprinkle of emotional intelligence and you've got a man who has decoded the game but refuses to play it out loud. So, if you've ever felt like that quiet guy knew more than he let on, it's because he does. And today you're getting access to the stuff he'd rather take to the grave. No sugarcoating, no fluff, no recycled mystery man tropes. This is the stuff Sigma males never say out loud but always mean. Let's begin. Number 1. He pre-grieves every relationship, so goodbye never shocks him. He treats every bond like a sky-high drone shot. Beautiful, expansive, and destined to fade once the batteries run low. From day one, he quietly runs a mental fire drill, where to stand, what to grab, how to exit without screaming. It isn't cynicism, it's emotional risk management. He's learned that forever is more marketing slogan than guarantee. So he drafts a calm goodbye while most people are still busy saving each other's contact names with cute emojis. That private rehearsal means he can give someone authentic affection without chaining his sanity to their choices. When storms hit, ghosting, betrayal, or the simple drift of time, he doesn't crumble. He's already filed the insurance claim in his head and moved his valuables to higher ground. The upside, he's fully present while he's there. Knowing departures are baked into the contract makes every coffee chat, road trip, and silent shoulder lean feel limited edition. You get his undiluted attention because he's not daydreaming about future anniversaries. He's savoring this exact laugh, this oddball inside joke, this fleeting overlap on the map. But the portable parachute stays strapped to his back. If you rip trust to shreds or simply change lanes, he pulls the cord and glides out. No rage on social media, no midnight closure texts. People call it cold, he calls it tidy. He also spares you the guilt trip. Since he pre-grieved, he doesn't need lengthy debriefs about why things ended. The talk you feared, we need to clear the air, never arrives. He's done the math, paid the emotional invoice, and closed the tab. You're free to go. Ironically, that unspoken permission sometimes brings folks running back, confused by the lack of drama. He'll accept the return once, because grace is cheaper than grudges, but the warranty on trust is strictly single use. Behind the calm lies a lesson carved from past wreckage. Peace is cheaper when you buy it up front. Losing someone will always sting, but pre-grief shrinks the recovery time from weeks of sad playlists to a long shower and fresh bedsheets. Some call it lonely, he calls it optimized. Either way, he sleeps fine because the basement of his heart has no unattended boxes, no unsaid words, and no doors without emergency exits. Number 2, sometimes he engineers distance just to see who'll walk the bridge. He treats distance the way a mechanic treats a stress test. Crank the pressure, watch what breaks, note what survives. So every now and then he slips into low signal mode. Replies slow, plans scarce, invitations non-existent. It's not punishment, it's data collection. He's checking who notices the sudden quiet, who sends the "you alive" text, who shows up with coffee and a look that says, "Bridge, challenge accepted." Most people claim they're loyal until a little inconvenience asks them to prove it. He'd rather watch the proof than listen to slogans. The move is subtle. He doesn't rage quit the group chat or post cryptic quotes on social media. He simply shifts gears, frees up his calendar, and lets the universe do the sorting. The flaky ones sigh with relief, less effort required. The self-absorbed don't even clock the change, and the rare few who value the connection. They tighten their laces and head for that imaginary bridge because silence from him isn't normal, it's smoke from a flare gun. What's wild is how efficient the test is. No awkward confrontations, no drawn-out, where is this friendship going talks. If someone can't be bothered to cross a little gap, they were never crossing oceans. He saves his energy, they save face, and the relationship dies of natural causes like a plant nobody watered. Cold, maybe. Sustainable? Absolutely. When someone does walk the bridge, though, the payoff is premium. They earn unfiltered access, emergency rides at 3 a.m., and a level of trust that doesn't reset with every minor conflict. He's not trying to make life harder for good people. He's trying to avoid pouring gallons of time into leaky buckets. Think of it as quality control with a side of emotional frugality. And no, it's not a mind game. Insecurity begs for attention. He's just observing who shows initiative. If you don't step forward, he doesn't chase, blame, or throw shade. He merely updates the guest list and carries on. The bridge test leaves him with a smaller circle, but every person inside it has proven they know the way back, even when the path gets foggy. That's the loyalty metric he can bank on. Zero drama required. Number 3, popularity is overrated. Invisibility comes with VIP perks. He could chase the spotlight, but he knows the entry fee, endless small talk, constant availability, and a backlog of favors that never clears. So he pockets his charisma like unspent cash and slips into the background where the real power lives. When no one's projecting expectations onto him, he can pick projects, switch locations, and disengage from nonsense without filing emotional paperwork. Popularity feels like an overbooked airline. Sure, you're technically important, but you're also stuck in a cramped seat answering everyone's demands. Invisibility is more like flying private. You decide when to take off, who boards, and how long the trip lasts. Operating under the radar keeps his social battery fully charged. He observes from the edges, gathering intel. People blurt out when they think no one significant is listening. That data shapes sharper moves than any public applause ever could. Meanwhile, the popular crowd spends half its time defending opinions it shouted 5 minutes ago, and the other half trying to outdo yesterday's highlight reel. He'd rather push quiet updates than live tweet a personality. Then there's the favor economy. The louder your name rings, the more you're expected to lend it out. Job referrals, retweets, birthday appearances, wedding speeches. He trusts his gut that every obligation comes with hidden interest, and he's not running a loan office. Ducking the limelight keeps the request queue light and his calendar nimble. If he wants to ghost a get-together for a midnight coding sprint or a 6 a.m. road trip, nobody files a missing in action report. Invisibility also makes course corrections painless. Should a partnership sour or a scene grow stale, he can pivot without dramatic announcements because, frankly, most people didn't track his moves to begin with. That absence of public narrative lets him rewrite chapters whenever he pleases. Optionality isn't just a buzzword, it's his core currency. You can't pin down what you can't preview, and he trades heavily on that reality. So while others chase follower counts, he chases leverage defined by freedom of time, mind, and motion. The pulsing spotlight may look tempting, but he's already tasted its maintenance fees and decided the VIP section is actually the quiet corner where he controls the exit door, the playlist, and the guest list. Call it stealth luxury. Fewer selfies, more sovereignty, and zero late fees on life choices. Number 4, betrayals get archived like tax records. When someone crosses him, he doesn't explode or make a spectacle. He just quietly opens a new mental file, labels it with the date, and slides in the betrayal like a tax receipt, documented, time-stamped, and accessible forever. Forgiveness might come later, but it's never blind. The Sigma male doesn't hold grudges out of spite. He holds records out of strategy. Just like a smart accountant doesn't toss old documents after an audit, he doesn't delete betrayal just because you said sorry. That file stays, not for revenge, for reference. He doesn't scream, "I'll never trust you again." He simply adjusts your credit limit. Where you once had full access, now you're on a restricted plan. You might still be in the building, but the keycards don't open every door anymore. And you won't know when it changed, just that something feels off. Fewer conversations, fewer shares, less warmth. Not pettiness, just recalibration. People think he's cold because he moves on without dramatic exits. But the truth is, he simply respects the data. If your actions prove you're unreliable, he'd be foolish to reset the meter like it never happened. Emotionally, he runs like a business, compassionate but not naive. Betray him once and you're now a limited liability contact. Safe to interact with but never fully invested in again. This way of operating keeps him grounded. While others are busy cycling through the same betrayals with the same people, he updates the risk profile and moves smarter next time. It's not about cutting people off in anger. It's about knowing exactly what they're capable of when things get messy. He's not surprised twice, ever. He also won't weaponize what he knows. That receipt, it stays silent unless absolutely needed. No need to smear your name or gossip about what you did. He just protects his peace and adjusts his exposure to you accordingly. You'll still get a handshake, maybe even a smile, but the inner vault, permanently sealed. So while others pretend to forget in the name of peace, he remembers in the name of sanity. Not to punish, but to prevent. Because if life has taught him anything, it's that history doesn't repeat. It just rhymes. And he always reads the footnotes. Number 5, yesterday's self is his least trusted advisor. He doesn't idolize the person he was last week, he interrogates him. While most people romanticize their past decisions, the Sigma male looks at yesterday's self like an outdated app. Maybe it served a purpose back then, but it's definitely not fit to run today's mission. He doesn't care how proud he once was of a belief, a habit, or even a goal. If it's inefficient now, it gets deleted. No sentimental backup folder, no long goodbye. Every day he runs a quiet system check. What thoughts feel outdated, what emotional code is glitching, what alliances drain more than they deposit. He refines, updates, patches leaks. While others are stuck defending the identity they built at 22, he's already rebooted 5 versions of himself since breakfast. Not because he's lost, but because evolution is non-negotiable. The moment he starts defending who he was, instead of questioning who he's becoming, he knows he's slipping into mental autopilot. And that's where mediocrity festers. Nostalgia doesn't move him. He doesn't miss the good old days because he remembers the inefficiencies that came with them, the bad boundaries, the naive optimism, the unscanned red flags. That version of him might have smiled more, but it also tolerated more nonsense. So while others cling to their highlight reels, he's scanning for bugs in the memory. If you bring up the past too often, he starts wondering if you're allergic to progress. This mindset also makes him lethal in reinvention. He'll walk away from careers, cities, even long-standing relationships, not because he's unstable, but because he refuses to let loyalty to a past version of himself sabotage future growth. If it doesn't serve the man he's becoming, it doesn't make the cut. Period. He doesn't hate who he was. He just doesn't trust him to lead anymore. That guy got him here, sure, but this new terrain, it needs a better map, sharper tools, and upgraded instincts. And if tomorrow reveals that today's choices were flawed, he'll audit them without ego and update again. For the Sigma, self-growth isn't a weekend hobby. It's a full-time, brutal, and beautifully private system of self-correction. Yesterday's version gets thanked and then quietly retired. Number 6, loyalty runs on direct debit. Miss one payment, it cancels automatically. He treats loyalty like an auto-renewing subscription. It keeps running only if the respect payments land on time every time. One late deposit, an eye roll disguised as a joke, a promise you forgot to keep, a whispered insult you thought he wouldn't catch, and the service drops instantly. No courtesy email, no click here to reactivate, just a sudden blackout where warmth used to be. He figures adults shouldn't need grace periods to remember basic decency. If you can't manage that low overhead, you're not worth the bandwidth. His standards aren't harsh, they're clear. Respect is the non-negotiable fee that grants access to his energy, attention, and problem-solving superpowers. Pay it and you're in, miss it and you're out. Simple math. He refuses to chase anyone down for something that should arrive automatically, the way your electricity bill auto-drafts or your phone plan charges at midnight. Why beg for kindness when a missed installment already tells him everything about your priorities? When the cancellation hits, he doesn't breathe fire or stage a dramatic exit. He merely shifts you to the prepaid plan. Minimal contact, no emotional overdraft, strictly pay as you go. You might not even notice at first, Conversations feel shorter, invites dry up. Your hilarious memes sit on delivered. That's not pettiness, it's a quiet audit of risk. You defaulted once, he's not gambling twice. And here's the kicker. Those who value the connection rarely miss a payment. They sense the silent contract and honor it without reminders. That shared understanding breeds effortless trust, the kind that doesn't need pep talks or periodic "are we good" check-ins. Everyone else, they learn a life hack the hard way. You can't Venmo loyalty after the lights go out. So while some folks collect friends like unused gift cards, he runs a lean portfolio of premium subscribers. People who know respect isn't a one-time sign-up, it's a recurring fee. Keep it current, and the relationship runs smooth as fiber internet. Slip once and the line goes dead, no tech support available. Number 7. Compliments feel like IOUs, so he rarely issues them. He doesn't toss compliments around like confetti because to him every praise has a string. Say, "You're amazing today," and you're silently expected to be amazing tomorrow. Say, "You always come through," and now there's pressure on you to keep coming through, even when you can't or shouldn't. He sees how easily flattery turns into quiet contracts, and he's not interested in putting people on emotional layaway. So instead of inflating egos or writing verbal checks that might bounce, he keeps his praise vault sealed tight unless it's absolutely earned and can stand the test of time. He's not unkind, he's precise. His silence isn't shade, it's respect for your autonomy. If you crushed something, he'll acknowledge it with a look, a nod, or a simple "noted." No dramatic applause, no syrupy overkill. Because the second a compliment turns into an expectation, people stop performing for passion and start performing for approval, and that feels fake to him. He doesn't want you to mold yourself around what he sees in you. He wants you to do it for you, or not at all. Most people hand out compliments like social currency, hoping to earn favors, validation, or loyalty. He's not playing that game. He'd rather observe, assess, and remember. That doesn't mean he never compliments. It means when he does, it lands with weight. His rare praise feels like winning a black belt from a martial arts master, not because you smiled right, but because you proved something over time. No performance, just consistency. There's also a selfish angle he's not afraid to admit. Overpraising people has burned him before. It built pedestals that eventually collapsed. It encouraged people to plateau, thinking they'd arrived. So now he praises results, not effort, growth, not noise. And if that makes him seem distant or hard to impress, so be it. He's more focused on accuracy than approval ratings. In his world, silence is often the real compliment. If he's still investing, still showing up, still trusting you, that's the praise. If you need verbal gold stars every other minute to stay afloat, you're probably not built for his kind of connection. Because to him, the loudest compliments are the ones he doesn't have to say. Number 8. He profiles everyone in the first 30 seconds and rarely edits the file. The Sigma male doesn't wait for the third strike. He forms a mental snapshot of you before you've even finished your introduction. In the first 30 seconds, he's not just listening to what you say, he's scanning your posture, tone, eyes, how you treat the person next to you, and what you laugh at. He's not judging to be superior, he's calibrating. Because in his world, how someone presents in those raw, unfiltered moments says more than a year's worth of polished conversations. That handshake you thought was just a formality, if it felt like a wet paper towel or a power move flex, it's already noted. That humble brag you dropped, disguised as "I'm so bad at accepting praise," filed under insecure, performative, tread carefully. He's built to catch patterns early, and once his mind makes a call, it rarely makes revisions. Not because he's stubborn, but because people's first instincts are usually their most honest, and he trusts data over potential. People try to warm up over time, thinking they can charm their way into his inner circle, but the truth is, once you've set off his internal alarms, it's extremely hard to earn a rewrite. You'll still get basic courtesy, a nod in public, maybe even small talk at events, but full access? That door doesn't reopen without undeniable change, and even then, the hinges creak with suspicion. This fast profiling isn't cold, it's strategic. It protects his time, his energy, and his peace. While others spend months giving benefit of the doubt discounts, he's already mapped out who needs to be kept at arm's length and who's worth going all in for. It's not paranoia, it's precision. If you prove trustworthy, he'll upgrade your file with quiet loyalty. But if your vibe smells off from the jump, you're labeled accordingly and gently pushed to the periphery. And no, he doesn't feel guilty about it, because every time he ignored that early instinct, he paid for it. emotionally, mentally, or even financially. So now he treats those gut reactions like alerts on a high-security system. Maybe he's wrong once in a blue moon. He'll live with that. What he won't live with, letting obvious red flags talk their way into his inner circle while pretending to be pastel pink. Number 9, ghosting isn't cruelty, it's boundary automation. To most people, ghosting feels like the ultimate disrespect. To the Sigma male, it's just clean boundary tech. He's not vanishing to punish you, he's unplugging a system that's draining him. Because explaining every tiny offense, every crossed line, every vibe that feels off, that's death by 1,000 disclaimers. He'd rather preserve his peace than win a debate over why your passive aggression, chronic lateness, or constant oversharing wore him out. If something or someone starts glitching his mental clarity, he quietly hits factory reset. No guilt, no goodbye note, just silence that speaks fluently. He knows this move confuses people. They assume something major must have happened, but with him it rarely takes a dramatic explosion. Most of the time it's a slow corrosion, one too many ignored instincts, one too many forced laughs, one too many fake apologies. And when the discomfort outweighs the benefit, he doesn't schedule a final meeting to talk things through. He just exits the app, closes the tab, and never checks for updates again. This isn't about emotional immaturity. It's about energetic efficiency. He doesn't have the bandwidth to coach people on how to respect him. If you make him spell it out too many times, you've already missed the point. His absence is the warning, and if you still don't get it, that proves you were never listening in the first place. The ghosting also saves him from slipping into fake diplomacy. He's allergic to pretending things are fine when they're not. He won't fake laugh at your sarcasm, won't write 3-paragraph text to explain what you already know deep down. If the dynamic isn't mutual, authentic, and low maintenance, he's out. No performance, no drama, no chase. And he won't circle back later to smooth things over. People sometimes expect a reappearance, a "hey, sorry I went quiet," but they don't realize that when he ghosts, it's not a pause, it's a decision. He's not ignoring you while he cools off. He's removed you from his emotional grid. Quietly, permanently. So while the world scrambles to label ghosting as rude or immature, the Sigma sees it as necessary system maintenance. Not everyone deserves an exit interview. Some just need to be logged out and left there. Number 10. Competence outranks kindness in his value system. To the Sigma male, kindness is appreciated, but competence is the true currency. You can have the warmest smile, the softest words, the most charming presence in the room, but if you can't execute, follow through, or solve problems when it matters, you're not getting a seat at his table. He doesn't hate kindness. He just doesn't rank it as high as most people do. Being nice without being useful feels like trying to fix a flat tire with compliments. It sounds good, but he's still stuck on the side of the road. His world is built on efficiency, logic, and results. If you say you'll do something, he expects it done. If you offer help, it better be more than a motivational speech and a pat on the back. He's not wired to carry dead weight, emotionally or professionally. So if you keep showing up with good intentions and no real delivery, he'll quietly start reducing your access no matter how sweet your personality is. And no, he won't explain it. He just believes energy should go where it's earned, not where it's begged. This mindset can make him seem cold to those who lead with emotions, but he's not heartless. He's just tuned into a different frequency. He respects people who fix things, think ahead, and stay sharp under pressure. The friend who shows up with tools, not tears. The partner who brings strategy, not just sympathy. The team member who doesn't just clap, but contributes. That's who earns his loyalty. He knows kindness can be faked. Anyone can act caring for a few hours, but competence, that's tested under real pressure. When the deadline's looming, when chaos hits, when no one's watching, that's when he sees your true value. And if you disappear or crumble when it counts, no amount of later flattery will redeem the failure. The mission matters more than emotions, always. So if you're wondering why he pulled away despite things feeling good, it might be because your vibe was nice, but your skills were missing. He doesn't hate you for it. He just knows he can't build anything real with someone who brings cupcakes to a battlefield. Number 11. Love is a side effect, not a life goal. For the Sigma male, love isn't some grand quest or the crown jewel of existence. It's more like a pleasant side effect of living well. If it happens, great. If it doesn't, life still moves. He's not building his identity around finding the one, and he definitely isn't downloading his self-worth from romantic validation. While the world is busy chasing butterflies and building vision boards for soulmate season, he's focused on purpose, peace and mastery. Love, if it arrives, better come correct, aligned, genuine and effortless. If not, he's not losing sleep. That doesn't mean he's cold or incapable of love. On the contrary, when it hits, he'll protect it fiercely, but never obsessively. He won't force it, won't manipulate it, and won't let it derail his trajectory. He's seen too many people shape their entire lives around relationships that barely had foundations. He refuses to be one of them. The minute love becomes a substitute for purpose, he checks out. Romance isn't oxygen, it's a luxury add-on, like a scenic view in a well-built house, not the bricks that hold it up. He also knows how easy it is to confuse attention with affection, or passion with permanence. That's why he doesn't get swept up in chemistry without checking for compatibility. He doesn't need the fairy tale. He needs reality with depth. Showy gestures and poetic promises don't impress him if they aren't backed by character, consistency, and real emotional intelligence. He's not seduced by loud love. He's drawn to steady, real, unshakable energy. His fulfillment doesn't come from being someone's everything. It comes from being whole with or without applause. If a relationship starts feeling like an emotional crutch or a full-time performance, he detaches. Not in anger, just in clarity. He'd rather be alone and at peace than partnered and pretending. Love to him is not the end game. It's a bonus that only works if both parties are already full, not empty and searching. So no, he's not anti-love. He just won't kneel at its altar or distort his path chasing it. And if you love him, you'll need to respect that truth. He doesn't need you to complete him, only to meet him, match him, and move forward together without either one losing themselves. Number 12, every friendship has a silent escape hatch. He builds every connection with an invisible exit route already mapped, not because he's expecting betrayal from day one, but because he's realistic enough to know people change, vibes shift, and loyalty isn't always a lifetime subscription. Where others cling to friendships like sacred oaths, the Sigma male treats them like architecture, beautiful, functional, but never immune to collapse. So he installs quiet escape hatches in every dynamic, just in case the walls start to crack. No drama, no big announcements. Just a clean, strategic exit if the structure stops feeling safe. That doesn't mean he's emotionally unavailable. It means he values his peace more than any bond built on routine or guilt. He'll invest, show up, and even go the extra mile for those he respects. But if things turn toxic, performative, or one-sided, he slips out through that silent door he built months ago. And you won't even know he left until you realize you've been talking to an echo. For him, betting on permanent friendship is like predicting next year's weather with a coin toss. Life happens. People evolve or regress, and rather than pretend every bond will last forever, he prepares for the possibility that it won't. This isn't paranoia, it's preparedness. Just like a smart pilot never takes off without checking the emergency exits, he never gets emotionally airborne without knowing how he'd land if needed. He's not here for dramatic fallouts. If the friendship turns into a mess of passive aggression, unspoken resentment, or constant neediness, he won't fight about it, he'll just leave. Not because he doesn't care, but because arguing over something broken feels like trying to glue cracked glass while it's still falling. His quiet departure isn't cowardice, it's damage control. People often mistake his silence for indifference, but the truth is he's processed the entire situation before they even noticed the shift. He's already done the emotional math, reviewed the red flags, and determined that preserving his sanity is more important than resuscitating a dying connection. So when he disappears from a friendship, it's not impulsive. It's a well-executed exit plan that was built into the foundation from day one. Not because he was planning to leave, but because he refuses to be trapped when the fire starts. The Sigma male doesn't wear his truths like slogans. He buries them beneath layers of self-control, discernment, and calculated silence. What the world sees is just the outline, the real substance, that lives in what he doesn't say, what he doesn't chase, and what he quietly withdraws from without warning. His loyalty is filtered, his love is earned, and his attention is never for sale. He profiles people in seconds, keeps mental receipts like a vault, and ghosting isn't cruelty. It's clarity with the volume turned off. For him, relationships come with invisible escape routes. Compliments get scanned like airport luggage, and popularity is a noisy liability. He doesn't fear winning. He fears the crowd that shows up after. He doesn't chase love. It either grows in the quiet or it dies before it ever speaks. His happiest moments are the ones no one claps for, and every person in his circle has passed a test they didn't even know they were taking. He doesn't scream boundaries, he enforces them, silently, instantly, and permanently when needed. So while the rest of the world runs on noise, neediness, and emotional credit cards, the Sigma male lives in the fine print. His truths may be unspoken, but they shape everything. How he connects, how he protects, and how he disappears without a trace when things stop making sense. And that's the power. His silence is the message. You just have to be quiet enough to hear it. If this deep dive into the mind of the Sigma male hit different, if you saw yourself in these truths or finally understood someone who's been a mystery for years, then do us a solid. Hit that subscribe button so you don't miss future content that cuts through the noise. Drop a like if you felt those unspoken truths and leave a comment. Tell us which point hit hardest or what you'd add to the list. And of course, share this video with someone who needs to understand the quiet power behind the Sigma mindset. We don't chase the algorithm, we speak truth. And if you're about that life, you're in the right place.